do we do? The first one says, I don't know. I try to go a little faster. So she tries going a little faster, and that doesn't work. The second one says, well, why don't you show him your cross? So the first one rolls down the window. She sticks her head out the window, and she says,
Well, this guy's really bad.
get on the fucking windshield!
Tell a real joke.
That was too long.
Eat my ass.
Oh. I think I unfortunately missed the punchline of that joke because those assholes, but they've been banned now, so apologize for that. Yeah.
It wasn't that good of a joke.
Okay. Okay. So, next up we have Sonorous again. And yeah, it's pretty great, huh? So we got a few other people that have joined since earlier, so just a quick rundown. Your buttons at the bottom there, you can get in the queue to jump on stage by clicking the little guy with the mic. Holding down the space button or clicking on the megaphone at the bottom will allow you to open the mic and talk to the people on stage. You can change the camera with the camera button, and you can do emotes with the emote button there. There's also a hamburger icon up at the top left that'll get you options, audio options if you want to mute somebody who's annoying you or anything like that. Anyways, next up we have Sonorous, and you talking to me? Are you talking to me? Are we having a good morning? What's happening? Is that?
It's talking some shit.
Good. Yeah.
Wait, I can't hear what's being said.
Bullshit, I did not hit her. I did not.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Mark.
Okay.
Dad?
Yeah. So let's keep it calm. Keep it good. I'm gonna bring Sonorous up on stage and let's hear what he's got.
Kick this guy. Shut up, you scared.
Yeah, we don't really need that in here. Yeah.
I identify as an attack helicopter.
Alright, so let's everybody listen to Sonorous and try not to get banned.
Yeah. Alright, so speaking of nuns, the temperature in Virginia went from about 20 degrees Fahrenheit to, I don't know, it was like 70 today. So now I'm sweating like a nun in a cucumber patch. So I was going to follow up with a bartender joke of my own. So this guy walks into a bar, sits down, looks at the bartender and says, bartender, I want a shot of 20-year-old scotch. And the bartender says, yeah, 20-year-old scotch? Okay. Sure, buddy. And he's thinking to himself, who's this asshole? Like he can tell what 20-year-old scotch is. So he pours him a shot of rail scotch. And slides it down to the guy. Guy drinks it and says, bartender, this is piss. This is terrible. This isn't 12-year-old or 20-year-old scotch. This is just regular old nasty scotch. I specifically asked for 20-year-old scotch. So the bartender's a little puzzled.
Yeah.
Pours him a shot of 3-year-old scotch, slides it down. Guy drinks it and says, bartender, this is 3-year-old scotch. I specifically asked for 20-year-old. Please just give me the scotch I want. So the bartender's like, alright, I'm going to fuck with this guy a little bit. Pours him a shot of 12-year-old scotch and slides it down.
What
Guy
the fuck
drinks
are
it.
you fucking 12-year-olds for? You fucking rapists?
Alright, well, we can just hit tab here and just mute you there. Perfect.
Nah, he's already gone.
No, okay, well, regardless.
I think you got the wrong guy. You want Audrey Batoni.
I already muted him, so I'm not sure what he's saying. So this guy drinks his 12-year-old scotch and says, bartender, this is the last time I'm going to tell you. And he pulls out a 357 Magnum and sets it on the bar. Bartender's scared and pours him a shot of his 20-year-old scotch and slides it down the bar. The guy drinks it and says, thanks, bartender. That was real smooth. Guy sitting next to him says, hey, man, that's a pretty neat trick. Drink this. And he grabs a shot glass, tips it back, drinks it, glugs it down, spits it out immediately. Says, oh, my God, this is the most wretched stuff I've ever had. It tastes like piss. The guy looks at him and says, it is. How old am I? All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
Applause for that man. Applause. Well done. Appreciate it. There might have been some confusion there. I don't believe I kicked the wrong person, but I guess we'll find out next because Audrey's up next. So if you have him muted, you might want to unmute him. I don't believe he was the one that was causing the problems there. But his name sounds very kind of Italian, which kind of hits home to me as I'm Italian also. I think us as Italians, though, we get kind of a bad name, you know, in mafia movies and stuff. You know, we're always angry, violent people, and I don't think that's right. You know, I don't think that's a good stereotype.
Italian.
As far as we Italians are concerned, people think that we hurt people, and I think it's people get hurt. I think that we hurt people, just that people get hurt. You know, accidents happen. They walk outside, trip, fall onto ice pick 6 or 7 times. You know, accidents. Right away they blame Vinny. It's just not right. Anyways, Audrey is apparently not Italian, but he's gonna come on stage and see what he's got for us.
Fucking Vinny.
Here's an example of a black dad.
Oh, he left the stage.
I get it.
So
Oh yeah, race.
we're gonna keep the racism down a bit. I know it's pretty rampant in this game, but not at Club Digi. So I appreciate it. You know, it's has its place, I guess, but we'll keep that down. Anyways, next up, speaking of racism, here's the Jew.
Hey. You guys hear me this time?
Yeah.
Oh, excellent. So, one day, God noticed a mistake in St. Peter's roster, called up Satan. Hey, it seems you'd accidentally received some of my, professionals down there. Teacher, doctor, and a farmer. Yeah, Satan replies. All the more for me, God replies. You better send them up here immediately. Satan. No way, I'm keeping them. Send them up here, I'll chew the horns right off of you. Satan laughs. Yeah, and just where are you gonna find a lawyer?
I liked it. It was good. I don't think you're clicking the wrong button, but I mean that's up to you if you want to keep that charade up. Let's see. Yeah. Anyways, nobody wants to come up. It looks like, so I'm up here.
I got a really bad Italian joke.
Hey, I love real bad Italian jokes, so come on up.
All right, so it's Italian family serves up on dinner, and it's a father and his 3 sons. And the father, he looks at his first son. He says, "Hey, Vinny, why are you such a skinny fucker?" Wait, hold on. I screwed the joke up. I gotta come back. Hold on. All right,
We'll come back to you, Ryan.
Yeah, let me think about this one for a second.
Well, that was a good try. Welcome to the newcomers here. We got a couple lined up to come up on stage. We appreciate that. The random noises are not necessary. And next up we have Jackie, and fortunately one of our people in line might need to leave, but we'll see. Here we go.
When I was a young boy, about 5 or 8, 7, 6, me and my mom would go to the gas station and we'll hey, stop making noise. We'll get some coffee, some tea, and gum. One day, there was a big black man. He was pulling something in his pocket. It was just a seat. But then, dropped my gum.
Okay. I apologize. I missed half of that because my daughter ran up and was telling me how crazy I am. In any case, here's a newcomer, John. Welcome to the room, and let's see what you got for us.
Hello, what do black
Hi.
people and brush fires have in common? They both terrorize rich neighborhoods and get doused.
We're
with
gonna
water.
keep the racism down.
All right.
Yeah. So, new guys. Anyways, so I guess since we have many people coming up, I'll talk about some recent events here near me. I live in Southern California. For those that don't know, we had a recent.
Southern Cali.
Oh, nice. Yeah, best Cal. I'll tell you what.
Where, Irvine? I'm from Irvine.
Where's Cal?
You're
Where's Cal at?
you're a little southern from me. I'm actually in the northern tip of LA.
Bay Area, best cow.
NorCal Best Cow.
Oh, too soon, Sano. Too soon. Too soon.
Yeah, you're talking about the flooding, right, man? The flooding that happened?
Mission
Yeah,
burritos.
flooding and
Yeah.
mudslides and stuff. It was weird because we never get actual rain, so the rain happened and the mud was like, hey, I'm free. Anyways, it sucks. There's shit going on there. But back to the entertainment. We actually had
At
a
least that's
strip.
a change from a fire.
That's true. Half of the Southern California burning down was an interesting thing happening there too. Anyways, so we have this strip of road nearby that an abnormal amount of dead birds kept showing up. Ravens, to be specific. We have a shit ton of those around here. I'm not sure why. Any case, basically they would just show up on dead, and they started investigating while these dead birds were showing up. So they set up cameras and they had outposts and people watching for these birds. And what they found that was happening was that it was on a truck route. A lot of these big semis would be driving by, and these dumbass birds would just come swooping down and smack into the side of these trucks. And no one could really figure out why. I mean, if there was anything in the road that they wanted to eat, they would swing down and just smack into the side of the truck and die because of it. So they were getting hit by trucks, and the more they watched, it was actually really interesting. They were all getting killed by these trailers, but no, like, you know, smaller trucks like pickup trucks or cars or anything like that. They would just drive by, and these birds would stay up on the wires, or they just wouldn't fly in. But it was something about these trucks that they'd fly into the side of them. And they eventually figured it out, which was actually kind of crazy, that they watched the birds. So there would be a group of birds up on a wire, and a car would go by, and they could tell that they weren't going anywhere because one of them would see the car and say, "Car, car." But apparently they couldn't say, "Truck, truck." Oh, and then you hear my...
That's good, man.
Good? All right. So,
Even nevermore.
here's our next performer. Am I pronouncing it right? Jackie? Let me know.
Yeah, you are. Why can't a bike stand on its own? It's too tired.
God damn it.
Shit.
Okay. Why can't you play poker in the jungle? Too many cheetahs.
Fantastic.
So a neutron walks into the bar and orders a drink. When the neutron gets his drink, the bartender says, or he says to the bartender, "How much do I owe you?" The bartender replies to you, "For you, neutron, no charge."
God damn it.
Science.
Oh,
Here's
man.
our next performer,
Hey,
Sandwich.
Hey guys, so two guys walk into a bar. You would have thought the second guy would have ducked.
Alright.
Oh, somebody's showcasing their talent again.
That guy rules.
That's nice. Yeah, I mean, we had somebody play us the guitar earlier. It was awesome. Just so everybody knows, we don't have to tell jokes here at Club Digi. We're open mic night, so feel free to come up and tell a story or complain about your day. Tell us what happened at Grandma's house last week, whatever. We're open to everything. Next up, we have a borderline name I don't want to say, but we're going to bring him up anyways and see if I need to ban him. Here we go.
Hey guys, I'm gonna start you off with a classic remix of a joke. Why'd the baby cross the road?
Why?
And any?
Why?
Because it was stapled to the chicken.
Dark jokes. Dark jokes are welcome for sure. That was excellent. Next up, we have Jackie again.
I bought some shoes off a dealer. I didn't know what they were laced with, but I've been tripping all day.
Funny. Very funny.
Good one.
Next up, we have Sandwich. He is without which.
Okay, so how many babies does it take to paint a wall? Depends how hard you throw them.
That's not cool. It's from the 80s.
The flute whistle fucking kills me. Well played, sir. Well played. We hope to see you some more up here. Next up, we have one of the newer members joining Club Digi. Here is UPS Links.
Do I have to press a button? Can you guys hear me? Hey, thanks. Can you hear me?
You're live.
Oh, sweet.
Live when you're up.
Hi, my name's Bobby. I work at Electronic Arts.
Bobby.
That's the joke.
Me too. Well, I
Why are
don't
you
work at
DC?
Electronic Arts. I'm Bobby.
Fuck.
Can you send
What happened?
18, please?
I missed it. Was something wrong? Did I interrupt the joke? Sorry, Bobby.
Digi.
No, the joke was just that he worked at EA and wanted us to buy his DLC.
Oh. That.
He's trying to rip us off.
We're gonna keep being politics out of the club also. Next up we have Hortler again.
So I just want to tell you guys something about what happened at my grandma's the other day. So she was opening the oven because she was baking me cookies because she's my grandma, you know? And anyway, sir. And anyway, they were chocolate chip. They just got out of the oven, and she turned it on 450 to bake something else, all right? So anyway, long story short, she fell she fell in, and she turned into a toaster, like a toaster strudel. She burned it a little too much. Yeah, kind of sad.
Anti-jokes. Anti-jokes. Excellent. Thank you for that. A little off the wall. We'll make it up a bit. I like that. Not bad. I wish I had a little bit more control character up here. Now it looks like I'm telling an interesting story, waving my hands, but I got nothing. So here's Jackie.
A man went to a library and asked for a book on how to commit suicide. The librarian said, no, you won't bring it back.
Because he would be dead. Sandwich.
Dark jokes.
About suicide. Hey guys, I got a really killer joke for you today, folks. Feminism.
What? I had that toy.
I had that too.
I think the crickets handled that one quite well. Thank you, whoever did that. Next up, we have Don't Call Me Kelso. Don't call him Kelso. Unless you're calling him, don't call him Kelso.
What's up, Kelso?
What's up? Please, don't call me Kelso. So anyways, one day, little Johnny's playing in the backyard and he accidentally kills a honeybee. His father sees him do it and says, hey, no honey for you for 1 month. Later that afternoon, Johnny's dad catches him tearing the wings off a butterfly. That's it, no butter for you for 1 month, his dad says. Later that evening, as Johnny's mother cooks dinner, Cockroach runs across the kitchen floor. She jumps and stomps on it and looks up to find little Johnny and her husband watching her. Little Johnny looks at his father and says, you gonna tell her, Dad, or do you want me to?
Johnny's a fucker.
I know, right? Fucking Johnny. So while I normally wouldn't mind, I guess music box music, let's keep it to, if you want to perform your music box music, I'm perfectly happy to have you up here and do that. But let's let the other performers do their thing while they're up here, all right? Next up we have our resident corn guy, Ryan Butter, is up next.
Alright, so I just got a story this time. So there's this guy, and his car broke down on the side of the road. I know, it's a great joke. So he's working on his car, he's trying to figure it out, you know, and he's on the interstate, and cars are zipping by, and his limo stops by, and it stops. It pulls off to the side in front of him, backs up. Guy rolls down the window and he says, hey, it looks like you're having some trouble there. The guy says, yeah, car broke down, I'm trying to figure out what's going on, but I just can't do it. The guy says, tell you what, do you need me to call you a tow truck? He says, no, I can't afford it. I gotta work on it. He says, why can't you afford it? You got a job? The guy says, no, I just got fired the other week. I'm just trying to get by. The guy says, all right, I'll make you an offer out. You get in the car with me, get in this limo with me, and I'll give you a job. Guy walks up to the limo and he says, what kind of job? Guy says, I need a tennis court made, but it's a special tennis court. Guy says, all right, I can do that. So he gets in the limo. Limo goes back, drives up to this mansion, and it's, there's this, you can see that the mansion's off in the distance. It's got a big gate. Limo loads up, the gate's open, drive in. This beautiful mansion, huge. There's trees all around. It's the only house you can see. Guy says, all right, what I need is a tennis court. And what I've got in the back of the house is exactly 10,000 golden bricks. And I need you to make that tennis court out of exactly 10,000 golden bricks. So I can, say I've got a tennis court made out of 10,000 golden bricks. Can you do that? Guy says, yeah, I'll certainly give it a try. So he goes back there and, he sees this giant pile of gold bricks. He says, man, look at all the freaking golden bricks. Like, it's crazy. So, he gets out his pen and paper and he starts trying to figure out how to make this tennis court. He's laying it out, he's doing the math, and he can't get it to work out to exactly 10,000 bricks. So he tries and he tries, and he's like, all right, I'm just going to start building this thing and see what I can do. And he gets it together.
Shut up.
No matter how much he tries, he can't get it to work out. He's always one freaking brick extra or one brick short. Tries one last time, gets one extra brick. And he's just so mad because he just wants to get paid for this so he can go back to his car and be done. So he takes this brick, and with everything he's got, he's so mad. He takes this brick, and he just launches it as hard as he can into the sky. Thank you. Thank you.
He threw the golden brick into the sky? I guess you did preface it saying that was just a story. I didn't catch the punchline. Sorry.
I missed that one.
All good. Thanks for sharing. Next up, we have Jackie again.
Anytime.
Let's see what he's got for us.
Who are the fastest years in the world? 9/11 victims, they went through 89 stories in 7 seconds.
Ooh, got a little dark there. A little darker.
And he tells a short joke. It makes up for it. On average, we're a normal joke.
You guys got a normal joke going, and
Except his was better.
wow. So we got Sano's in line here. If we get a lull, I have some stories to tell, but I'll hold those back for now. And let's bring Sano up on stage.
All right. Hang on. Just gotta check the eyebrows. Yep, everything's working. Okay. So one night, this man's driving down the road, speeding quite a bit, going quite fast. And a cop notices how fast he's going, pulls him over, and asks the guy, says, do you know how fast you're going? And the guy says, yeah, I'm trying to escape a robbery I was involved in. And the cop says, you were the one being robbed? The guy's like, no. I committed the robbery. And the cop says, wait, so you're telling me you were speeding and committed a robbery? And the guy says, yeah, and I got all the money in the back. And the cop begins to get a little upset and says, sir, I think you're going to have to come with me. And cop reaches in to get the guy out of the car, and he says, well, hang on, don't do that. I'm scared you'll find the gun in my glove compartment. And the cop pulls his hand back out and draws his gun and says, all right, you're just going to sit here for a minute and radios for backup. So all these cops come, helicopters, dogs, all this stuff. And they get the guy out of the car and put him in the back of the cop squad car. And one of the other officers comes over and says, you're never going to believe this, sir, but you said he committed a robbery and had money in the back and a gun in the glove compartment? Well, we didn't have any of that stuff. There's nothing here. And the guy who was under arrest says, yeah, and I bet that liar said I was speeding too.
Cop burn. Well done. Now we have Kelso next. Oh, sorry. not Kelso.
I have some dead baby jokes if everybody's into those. How do you make a dead baby float? Take your foot off its head.
Oh.
What do you call two abortions in a bucket? Blood brothers. What's blue and yellow and sits at the bottom of the pool? Baby with slash floaties. What's green and hangs around on trees? Same baby, 3 weeks later. What's brown and gurgles? Baby in a casserole. What's black and sits in the corner? What's black and sits in the corner? Baby with its finger in the power socket. What's blue and flies around the room at high speeds? Baby with a punctured lung.
I don't think that's possible. I don't think it would fly around the room. I'm ashamed of how much I laughed at those jokes. Just to throw it out there, I'm a big fan of the short jokes. I know they get thrown around the rooms in this game a lot. Of the cows with 2 legs, cows with no legs, guys with no legs. So I'm going to tell a couple of those. Feel free to yell out the answers if you know them. If not, then we'll do the punchline and go from there. So let's get the normals out of the way. What do you call a cow with 2 legs? Lean beef. Lean beef, right? What do you call a cow with no legs? Ground beef.
Bob.
Right?
Oh.
Oh, yeah. No, what do you call a guy with no arms and no legs in your pool?
Bob.
Name?
That's Bob. What do you call a guy with no arms and no legs on the wall? Art.
Art.
And what do you call a guy with no arms and no legs on your doorstep?
Matt.
Excellent. What do you call 2 guys on your windowsill with no arms and no legs? Kurt and Rod. What do you call 5 guys and a girl with no arms and no legs in the ocean? Bob, 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 and Ann. Right? So feel free to come up with those jokes. I love them. I'd like to hear ones that I haven't before. I'll leave you with the last one. What do you call a leper in your bathtub? Stew. Here's Sonorous, ladies and gentlemen.
What do you call a guy with no arms and no legs and a pile of leaves? Russell.
Russell. Perfect. Excellent. Dead babies everywhere. And we have Kelso coming back up. Let's hear some more dead baby jokes, probably.
No, I just got a quick one. What do you call a kid with no arms and an eye patch? Names.
That is mean. We are no bully. We have a no bully policy here at Club Digi. So we would not call him names. We would take him out to dinner, invite him home, have some fun with him, maybe push him around because he couldn't stop himself from falling over. Anyways. What? I mean, you guys wouldn't molest the guy with no arms? He can't defend himself. Anyway, here's Ryan.
Damn.
What kind of sound does a dead baby make in a microwave? Thump, 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 thump.
Ah, because it's going around in a circle and its head is hitting the glass. Ding, ding.
The jokes are better when you explain them.
They are. I agree. Here's Kelso again.
What's worse than a dead baby in a trash can? 100 dead babies in a trash can. What's worse than that? There's a live one at the bottom. What's worse than that? It eats its way out. What's worse than that? It comes back for seconds.
Gross. Sono. Oh, well played. Let's see what Ryan has for us this time around.
Alright, you guys ready for another story? Yeah? Alright, so... Alright, here we go. Here's the story. So, there's this woman. She lived in New York. And she lived in New York her entire life. She never left. She never visited anywhere else. But her mom had moved to LA, you know, when she got out of college, you know, didn't have to take care of her anymore. Anyways, found out that her mom died. It was a sad story. And she needed to get out to LA, you know, to go to the funeral. But she's deathly afraid of flying. She's never flown anywhere. She's never driven any long distance her entire life. And she's deathly afraid of flying. So she calls up her friend and she says, I don't know how to do this. I gotta fly out to LA, but I'm deathly afraid of it. And her friend says, you know, flying is the safest form of travel. Like, I mean, I think there was no fatalities, no injuries at all in America in the last year. Like, it's literally the safest form of travel you can do. It's not gonna be a big deal. You can fly. It's not gonna be a problem. So she takes that advice. You know, she's like, okay, it's not gonna be a big deal. So she gets to the airport, you know, and she figures out how to get through security. You know, the TSA had to help her. You know, she had to go through a pat down, which sucked. You know, she's like, all right, that's normal. I hear about that on the news all the time. It's not gonna be a big deal. I'm gonna get on the plane, and I'm gonna get there, and it's gonna be no problem. So she, you know, she's at the gate and they're waiting to board, and the flight is delayed. She's like, oh my gosh, this is like, what else could go wrong? So she waits, and like, you know, the weather's kind of picking up a little bit. She's like, maybe it's gonna get delayed again. She waits, and nope, didn't get delayed. So she gets her turn to board. She gets on the plane, and she's got a window seat, even though, you know, she didn't want a window seat because she doesn't really want to look out the window. But so she's kind of, you know, trying not to get freaked out, and the passenger next to her is, you know, trying to calm her down. She's like, oh, it's no big deal. It's just a plane ride. You're gonna experience, you know, some acceleration here when we take off, and then it's gonna be smooth sailing. So they go to take off, and you know, the acceleration starts, and she's kind of like, whoa, what is this? You know, they take off. She's kind of breathing hard, and they get some turbulence, and it's just really driving her crazy. She's really freaking out. Eventually, they get to LA, and you know, they start getting lower, and she can start to see, you know, the towers. They can see the ocean. She can see the ocean. And they're flying down, and they get a little bit of turbulence. They shake the plane. The seatbelt signs go on, and she's really freaking out. She's just staring out the window and looking for anything they can see. And just as they get down, she can see the runway coming. They kind of dip the wings because there's a little bit of crosswind coming in over the ocean. And she looks down, and there's this weird movement. And she looks down, and here comes this gold brick, comes up, hits the aircraft and the engine. They crash and burn, and they all die. Thank you.
Damn.
Anti-jokes. We love anti-jokes. Great one again. Thank you for sharing. We have Kelso coming back up here, so let's see what he's got for us. Anti-jokes. We love anti-jokes.
If Jesus can walk on water, can he swim on land?
That's a good question.
I mean, I'm constipated. I just couldn't give a shit. I masturbate because I'm the only one whose standards are low enough to fuck me. I stopped and thought, never mind. That was a bad one. Hold on a second. My aunt used to say, slow and steady wins the race. She died in a fire.
Ooh, that one.
Burn,
Poetic
right?
talent is really easy to fake when dissected stuff make no fucking sense.
I'm just in awe about our new friends here that have come in that seem to have porn name in their name, but they also sound like a 6-year-old. So let's bring them up on stage and see what they have for us.
trading website actually.
Ah, that kind of skin. Odd that I didn't catch that. If you knew me better, gotcha. Okay, what do you got for us?
Alright, so what do you call the security guard at Samsung? The Guardian of the Galaxies. Ha. Alright, what's a Mexican's favorite sport? Ha, cross country. Haha. Bye.
Started out good there. The Galaxy one was good. Then you got a little racist, so we'll try to keep that at bay. Yeah, I gotcha. Next up we have maybe your friend. You guys seem to come in at the same time. You're sitting at the same table, looking deeply into each other's eyes. Nice.
Yeah.
Alright, let's see what he's got.
Okay, guys, so ready for the biggest joke of them all? My existence!
Yeah! We heard that one earlier. Wow. That's alright. It was a good try. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for getting up on stage. Kelso's going to come back up here and grace us with his presence.
My ex-girlfriend had a really weird fetish. She used to dress up like herself and then act like a fucking bitch all the time.
That's what you do.
Alright, well, I'm going to start wrapping it up here. I'm going to finish off the night with a story here, which starts off with me and my family on a family trip out to the local strip club. Yeah, so I woke up the next morning. This was the previous morning or the next morning. I woke up that morning, still in the clothes from the night before. Had gone out with a bunch of friends. It was a buddy of mine's bachelor party. And this is all true story, so take it as you will. There's some funny parts, but it's not necessarily a punchline joke. In any case, I wake up, I've got all my clothes on still, and I don't know how I got in my bed. So a bit sore, you know, thought, okay, no big deal. We'd been drinking a lot. We had started out the night by driving out to a bikini club that was in the next city over. It was about a 10-minute drive away. I remember going there. I remember running around the place like we owned the joint. And I remember as we were walking out, the bouncer showing us his gun, stating that we probably shouldn't come back. So, yeah, we had fun there that night, though. Anyways, as I'm rolling out of bed, I'm, you know, was thinking about how crazy the night was. And I stand up and I notice that my pants feel very heavy. So I'm reaching into my pockets, and my right pocket is just full of quarters. And I pull out a handful of quarters, and my wife is rolling out of bed, so I pull these quarters out, and I'm like, do you know why I have a handful of quarters right now? And she's like, I don't know, fuck, Bobby. And I'm like, okay, all right. So I'm, you know, still in my clothes from the night before. So I'm you know, still in my clothes from the night before, so I go to change. So I go ahead and I started taking off my shirt. I had turned around at the time, and she looks at me and she goes, what the fuck happened to your back? And I said, what do you mean? I reached back and I kind of just brushed my hand against my back, and it's sore. Like, oh, what the hell happened? I turn and I look in the mirror, and I've got this big scrape down the back of my back. And I say, I don't know. I have no idea how I've gotten this scrape across my back. So now I have a handful, you know, a pocket full of quarters, scrape on my back. I don't know what happened. I do remember that I started out the night with a budget. So I had put some cash in my wallet, and I thought to myself, oh, I wonder if I spent all the money that I had last night, because I don't remember buying a lot of drinks. In any case,
wild.
Yeah, it was a good time. So we.
That's not funny.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you missed the part because you're a newcomer. I understand that. You missed the part where I said this isn't a joke, and it's actually a story kind of wrapping up the room here. So if you yeah, I know. Anyways, so continuing on. So I have a pocket full of quarters. I go to look at my wallet to see if I had spent all my budget. And I open my wallet, and sure enough, all the money is gone. It's okay, no big deal. That's what I planned on spending that money, and I wanted to make sure that I didn't spend any more. But as I'm looking at my wallet, I also noticed that my driver's license is not in my wallet. And I said, oh, that's interesting. And I looked in the little pocket where I keep my ATM card. It is also missing. And So here I am, standing here in the, you know, with my shirt off, my back is scraped, I got a pocket full of quarters, and half my wallet's gone, so I'm wondering to myself what the hell happened. So, you know, what do? I call my designated driver, because we did have a designated driver. I do know that I didn't drive last night, and I gotta ask him what the fuck happened. So I call him up, and he answers the phone, laughing his ass off. And I was wondering if this was going to kick me off stage. It seems since I'm the host, it's not going excellent. So I call him, he's laughing his ass off, and I'm like, dude, I have some questions for you. And he says, dude, you are an asshole. And I was like, whoa, let's get to that, right? So I asked him first, what's with the quarters in my pocket? And he says, okay, do you remember at the bikini club we went to, do you remember that we were playing some pool? And I said, I do. Now that you mention it, we did play some pool. He says, well, you wanted to play pool, so you need to get some quarters. But for whatever reason, they wouldn't give you change for your 20 unless it was all quarters. So you got all quarters, and you spent about $1 of it and the rest of the quarters in your pocket. I said, okay, perfectly explainable, right? So I asked him again. So I asked him the next part. Why do I have this big scrape across my back? He says, dude. So after that bikini club, we came back into town and we went to the local bikini club. I said, no, we didn't, because I have no recollection of going to this place. Unfortunately, I was blackout drunk. So he says, what happened is we went in there and we were, you know, watching the dancers or whatever. You went to get up at one point and you put your arm down on the table and push up to get yourself up. Well, the table slipped out from underneath you. You fell backwards and you land on another table, which obviously scraped your back. And I said, wow, I'm a jackass, you're right. I said, so any idea where my ID and my debit card are? He says, yeah, it's probably still there at the local bikini bar because you bought a round for us and I believe you started a tab, so maybe you didn't pick up the tab on the way out. And I was like, I don't remember being there in the first place, so that was probably it. So I said, you know, I thank him for driving because everybody should have a designated driver if they need to get somewhere. Use those Ubers, use those Lyft, guys. Don't drink and drive. So what it all boils down to is I get to call the local bikini joint and sheepishly ask if my ID and my debit card are there. Sure enough, they say yes, of course, after asking my name and everything. Yes, it's here. You can come pick it up. Are you guys open? Yes. Okay, so yeah, so it's just me, my daughter, and my wife, and I can't drive because I don't have my license with me. So the wife has to drive me, and both of us leaving, the daughter had to come with us. So that's what led to the family trip to the strip bar. So yeah, we pulled up in there. It was real awkward walking in there, and
This is just a number.
we walked in. I walked in there. I left the girls in the car, but I walked in there, and sure enough, they had my stuff, and I had signed for the tab, and I did so, and walked out with my head down. And yeah, that's my hangover story. It was quite an interesting experience. I have not gotten blackout drunk since then, but it was a lot of fun. So again, moral of the story: don't drink and drive. It doesn't matter how drunk Arwen is. Drunk Arwen, drunk out.
I have a question.
All right, so that's gonna do it for Club Digi tonight. We can do questions. We can do questions in a second here, guys. Calm down, calm down. I'm just gonna wrap it up, and then we'll have some fun. So thank you guys for joining us tonight, and we'll catch you in the next one. If anybody's interested, this was put together on iCrontic.com. We're a group of gamers. We get together and game all the time. PUBG, Rocket League, stuff like this. Good times had by all. And yeah, so I'll leave the room open for a little bit and still talk to you guys, but that's going to end it for hosting it. Yeah, have a good night, y'all. Anyway, somebody had a question? You guys are both next up on the stage. Did you just want to come up?
Yeah,
All right, there you go.
How was the experience letting your wife drive?
Well, she's not a fan of driving. I think more so she's not a fan of driving her husband to a strip club to get his ID. So it was one of the more awkward drives that I've ever had. But my wife is actually a pretty good driver. She doesn't like driving at night, but...
Did your wife know you were going to a strip club?
Yes, she was quite aware of the plans of the night. She knew we were going to beanie bars and strip clubs, and so it unfortunately was not much of a surprise to her that I had gone there as it was to me. I've still never been in the joint other than when I picked up my ID. I figured I'd walk in and one of two things would happen. It would either all like flash back to me and I would remember it all, or I'd walk in and it was like fucking Cheers where they'd go, "Hey, Bobby!" And that didn't actually happen, either of those. So, yeah, it was an interesting experience. You guys sound a bit young, so hopefully you've never been blackout drunk, but you'll hopefully get a chance to experience that, and hopefully you don't die. So let's bring one of you up on stage here.
Alright. Alright, what do you call it when Batman skips work? Christian Bale.
Too bad Dan's not here for that one.
What do you call a group of unorganized cats? A catastrophe. Ha! Ha ha! Ha! Ha ha!
Kid's on point.
Why do you play poker in the jungle? Too many cheetahs. Ha! Ha ha! How many tickles does it take to make an octopus laugh? 10 tickles. Ha! Ha ha!
10 tickles.
Alright, I'll save more for later.
Alright guys, time to hear some cringy jokes, man. Alright, how can a kangaroo jump higher than a house? Of course, a house doesn't jump. Am I right, guys?
Heyo.
Heyo.
My dog used to chase people on a bike a lot. It got so bad, finally I had to take his bike away. Am I right? Get it? Because my dog used to chase people on a bike. Am I right?
Heyo.
What is the difference between a snowman and a snow woman? Snowballs. Am I right, guys?
You know?
My mother said, "How was school today?" I said, "It was really great, Mom. Today we made explosives." My mom then said, "Ooh, they do very fancy stuff with you these days. And what will you do tomorrow? What will you do at school tomorrow?" And I said, "What school? Am I right? Because I exploded." No? Okay.
I see what you did there.
And my mom told me, my mom asked me, "Where do tampons grow?" And I said, "Where the babies come from, darling, in the stork." Am I right?
It's the eyes.
Because I'm supposed to be a little kid, am I right? Yeah, let's do it, man.
Do you control the eyes?
Okay, so I have one philosophical question for the audience. If a buttered toast always lands face down, and a cat always lands on its feet, then what happens if we strap buttered toast to a cat?
The fusion? Fission?
Yeah. Fission. Explosion.
Everything will die.
gravity.
I think they usually.
Alright guys, you guys ready for some more crappy jokes?
Hell yeah, man.
Why didn't the toilet paper cross the road, guys? It got stuck in a crack.
Ooh, man, that was funny.
Why did the stadium get hot after the game ended? 'Cause all the fans left.
Ooh. Don't boo him. That was funny. Come on, he's trying, guys.
Why did the bicycle fall over, guys? 'Cause it was too tired.
What are you reading this aloud?
What did the duck say to the bartender? Put it on my bill. What do you call bees that produce meat? I can't speak. I'm just gonna move on. All right, bye.
You're my favorite comedian, man.
Well done. Well done. Those were good ones. I'm interested in the B joke.
Kevin Hart.
Once you remember it, bring it back up.